It's such a pleasure to be here with you in this holy place. I was thinking this morning about the first time I heard the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. At least the first time I heard it, and it moved me in a special way, and that was I was driving with my mother to Berkeley, California, from our house in Walnut Creek, which is in the suburbs. And then on the radio, we were driving in a VW bus, and my mother had the radio on, and it was My Sweet Lord was playing, and the Hare Krishna mantra came on. And something moved me when I heard that. Partly it was that it was George Harrison singing, and I thought it's got to be cool. But there was something more that I couldn't explain that made me, it moved me. And then when I was sitting here chanting japa this morning, I was thinking about, isn't this the place George Harrison donated? And I almost felt like it was only 2 seconds between the time that I was in that car and then I was sitting here and thinking what an amazing thing it is how Krishna makes all kinds of arrangements. I mean, he's really pulling us and directing. It's hard for me to see because I have my own agenda and ideas about who I am and what I should be doing and what other people should think of me and so on. But Krishna has a much, much bigger plan and a vision. But I was feeling so fortunate to be here, and that it was part of Krishna's plan to be here somehow. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm trying to do my best to cooperate with it, whatever it is. And this verse, this morning when I mentioned it, that this would be a good verse, and I was thinking about this verse, that it's such a classic verse that I can forget about it. And Vishwambar Prabhu said, "Oh, it's an Orthodox. You picked an Orthodox verse." And I thought that, it's so Orthodox I can forget about how important it is. Srinvatam Swakata Krishna. So, kata. I have a friend, a devotee friend, who when he says kata, he always makes it sound like it's a beverage of some kind. Have some Krishna kata, and it sounds like you're going to have a cup of something like a. That's the way he says it. It's a beverage of some kind, and so Srinvatam Swakata Krishna. Those who have developed this desire to hear Krishna kata, Krishna helps from within the heart. This is really big news. And the exciting aspect of devotional service and the inspiring part of sadhana or practice is only stimulated when there's an intentional desire to surrender. That is, I'm conscious that I'm performing sadhana and why I'm performing it, and I become aware of a desire that I want to surrender. And from that sincere feeling, Krishna, from within the heart, recognizes it and makes all kinds of arrangements, and he reciprocates. And this is what he says in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye yata mam prapadyante tamstataiva bhajamyaham. That as you surrender to me, I reward you accordingly. So Krishna is only waiting to see when I'll surrender. In fact, when I was reading the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita this morning, and Arjuna was speaking about how difficult it is to control the mind, Krishna said that it is possible. It's really difficult work to go on with spiritual life unless you control the mind. And he said, it's possible by proper practice and detachment. And it's almost as if when he's saying that it is as if he's standing by as our well-wisher and encouraging us, yeah, go ahead and surrender. You can come up. It's not that Krishna's put me in any situation. I'm in that situation by my own accord, by my own will. And Krishna gives me all kinds of encouragement, but it's by my own surrender and my own will that I must rise. I must cultivate the higher standard of consciousness, which is unfettered and it's free from any kind of motivation. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana. And there's so much of this beverage to drink. It's unlimited how much I can drink. And if I develop the desire to keep drinking it and taking it, then punya shravana kirtana. As I do, I get help and I get strength. It's a powerful statement, punya shravana kirtana, that just by hearing I get something. Everybody wants something. Everywhere you look, everyone wants something out of whatever they're doing. Everyone's self-interested ultimately. And punya shravana kirtana, by hearing and chanting, we get the best thing. We're actually getting something. We're getting capital. We're developing some spiritual capital that we can actually use to come to the highest position. Punya shravana kirtana. And then hridyanta sto hibhadrani. Krishna from within the heart, he's situated there, he assists. And when I saw the word abhadrani, it's the word for word is a desire to enjoy matter. So this is a kind of weakness of heart that is mentioned in the last purport in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the weakness of heart that keeps me in the material world. And that weakness of heart is a desire to enjoy matter and to lord it over matter, and then an increasing attachment to matter. And Srila Prabhupada says that these two weaknesses of heart must be vanquished altogether. Abhadrani, they're inauspicious. No matter what you do, when I'm in that condition, when I'm trying to enjoy matter, it's retrograde. It's not in my best interest. It's inauspicious. And that desire to enjoy matter and that weakness of heart, which allows me to go on thinking that this is good for me, becomes vanquished by the Krishna Katha, by hearing. Hridyan taksto hibhadrani, and Krishna is so close, he's within the heart, and he's suhrit. Suhrit means that he's the natural friend. Naturally, he's there and he's eager to assist me. So this is the perfect situation that Krishna is within the heart, I'm his servitor, and just by hearing about him, then he helps to cleanse that inauspicious desire within the heart so that I can come to him. Lord Sri Krishna, who is the Paramatma, the supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor, the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. And so inspirational sadhana means that if I can get even one mustard seed of inspiration from my practice, that can inspire me for a lifetime. Even one tiny second of inspiration, that means the sincere feeling that I will surrender and that I want to go back to Godhead. Because as Prabhupada mentions here, surprisingly, that is not the predominant feeling in the material world, that everyone wants to stay here, ultimately. I'm keeping something aside, and I'm not willing to leave it all and go back to Godhead. There's some catch. I want to keep it. And so if I can get in one inspirational moment that feeling that I do want to, then Krishna knows it. And the amazing thing is that I have the prerogative to do that. I can change my mind or not. It's kind of high stakes, isn't it? It's really high stakes because, I mean, it's a tragedy to actually stay here in the material world. And the act or the desire to actually leave it all behind changes everything. It changes my entire perspective in life. If I've decided, like if you've already decided to leave something behind, then the whole situation changes. You're no longer attached to it, and you've moved on. It changes everything in relationships. The other day, when I was going door to door in an apartment area, talking to people at their doors about the Bhagavad Gita, suggesting that they keep one. And I talked to one man, and sometimes when you open the door and people, well, they look at me and they think, I don't want to be bothered, I'm busy, I'm watching television or whatever it is. Everyone's in some kind of comfort zone here in this world, and they don't want to come out of it. And so when they see somebody come to the door, and obviously I have an agenda, they feel put upon maybe for a few seconds. And so anyway, I was explaining to the man, I had given him a small book anyway as a consolation and said, at least keep this. And he said, no, why don't you give it to somebody else who can appreciate it more? And I said, I would, but we were asked to give them to the most intelligent people, and I thought you'd appreciate it. And, really, I want you to keep it. And I did want him to keep it. And he said, well, I can't give you anything for it. And I said, you already did. You took your valuable time. You opened your door. I interrupted you and everything like that, as if that isn't enough. And he said, no, I want to pay you for it, but I can't. And I said, no, I really want you to keep it. And I really did. So I said, no, keep it. And I was walking away, and he completely changed his mind. He said, no, I'll give you something. But it was only in that second that I had completely, when he saw that I was committed to giving him something. I didn't want anything in return. And I notice it over and over again. Then when somebody notices that I really don't want something in return, I don't have to have tit for tat, that it changes their mind. It changes their heart, everything. And Krishna's the same way. What he really wants more than anything, he doesn't care about ritual or any kind of practice, any kind of my sadhana doesn't mean much unless there's actually that feeling that, okay, I'm in this completely, I'm ready. Even if I can't do it right now, if I can muster that feeling that I'm going to do it, I'm going to surrender somehow or other. In fact, I read the other day, Prabhupada, in a lecture, he was saying that even if you can't do, if you say, how can I do, then you're liberated. Because the desire, how can I do, that will, that's it. That's the whole thing. And it doesn't matter who you are, or how bright you are, or anything like that. It just matters if you just say, how can I do this? And so sadhana is meant to awaken that feeling. Shrinvatam swa kata Krishna, punya shravana kirtana. It has such power in it. Krishna is personally present in it. If I can expose myself to that, if I can open my ears, how should I hear when I listen to Krishna's holy name or the Srimad Bhagavatam? Even though my body may not want to cooperate, but how should I try to hear? Someone told me a formula for meditation the other day that's really powerful. Should I tell you? He told me, he said, imagine that you're listening to the sound of a flower opening. I want you to do that just for a second. Take 1 second and just close your eyes and try to listen to the sound of a flower. There's probably a flower in the garden. See if you can fix your mind on a flower in the garden opening. I heard it. It's that kind of concentration on the holy name when we're chanting. That's just a sadhana tip, I think. It's that kind of concentration, the flower opening, or that I'm listening to the Srimad Bhagavatam, Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna. If I listen to that kata and I drink that beverage in such a way that with full concentration, then I develop this capital, this strength. And it's hard to tell even where it comes from because Krishna is full of potencies. And the potency's in it. It's already in there. You don't have to figure out how it's working or anything. You just have to do it. And last night I went to a hearing and chanting session. Bhagavata Shraya Prabhu had, we drove, when I found out he was having the session without us, we jumped in the car and drove there as quickly as we could and jumped out of the car. And it was in a little room with some chairs, and there were two devotees. He and Narahari Prabhu were sitting there just reading the Bhagavatam. So they allowed us to sit down and also hear from the first canto of the Bhagavatam about the incarnations of the Lord. And we just sat there and listened. We didn't have to do anything else. And it had a powerful effect, just hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And that kind of hearing, just listening submissively, letting the sound vibration go in. Krishna goes in, and vidhunoti, he sorts it all out. But I have to be willing, that's the thing. If I say, Krishna, I'm willing. I don't know how to do it. I don't even know how to extricate myself from this world, but I'm willing to allow you to do whatever you want so that I can, to sort all these material desires out, because I would like to be a pure devotee. So if I can say that and then listen, then vidhunoti suhritsatam. He's suhrit, he's all powerful, and he's all merciful. And he knows just what to do, and if we allow him, then he'll do everything. And he'll cleanse all the inauspicious things from within the heart. So this is the inspiration in sadhana, that every day I should beg for something of this magnitude that's moving, actually. I shouldn't do a whole day of sadhana and not get this. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions in his prayers that he begged for the holy name, and then he got it. So if I beg for something, I mean, what does it mean to beg? It's illegal here, I heard. So be careful. But it is it is a technique. I mean, people use it in different countries around the world. And I mean, what do you do when you beg? Do you have any idea? Yes, Bhagavat? You present yourself as helpless. That's a really good definition of begging, or at least, the mindset. Present yourself as helpless. I don't have anything. Because otherwise, if you're on a street corner and it looks like you're really opulent and you have everything, it's kind of crazy, right? Queen Kunti says, Janmai Shraya Shruta Shribir Edamana Mada Puman Naivar Yadidathum Vai Twam Akinchana Gocharam. She says, if you have something already, if you have wealth or fame or power, you think you have something. Everyone thinks, I have something. Here, have a look at this. No thanks. I don't need it. I have something. I am somebody. But if I'm akinchan, kinchan means something. And unkinchan means not something. I don't have anything. I don't have janma, aishvarya, shruta, shribir. I don't have learning. I don't have strength. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. Please give me something. One little thing, please give me. From that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, beg, 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 mage. Ask for it in that way. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I can't do anything. I can't think anything. I don't know what to do. Please give me something. In that mood, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When I was on the airplane flying here, I was sitting next to a woman who had a son. Apparently it was a son. She treated him like a son. And they were, she was doting over him. He must have been 16 or something like that, or 14. But she obviously really cared for him, and they had a nice relationship. And she called him honey, and she would make sure he got everything. She was explaining everything to him and making sure he was eating properly and all these things. And I was just thinking about mothers and how careful they are to take care of their dependents. And that's just their nature. And then I was thinking about Mother Durga and how, being in the material world, I'm under the care of Durga. And then it dawned on me, her care was obvious. Her love for her son was obvious. But then, when the meals came, they were eating unmentionable things. And I was just thinking that her care wasn't altogether wholesome in the sense that it was contaminated by the modes of material nature. Nonetheless, I saw in it something, the nurturing effect of the mother. And then I was thinking of when we chant Hare, the mother Hara, who's the supreme mother and from the superior energy. And what is her care? If the care in the material world is such that, even Durga and her representatives are so caring and loving, but there's some taint by the material modes of nature that actually makes it undesirable in a sense. What is that care that comes from the Supreme Mother, from Radharani, from the internal energy? So I was thinking about Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakriti mashrita. Jai Shishi Radha Gokulananda Jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai. There's something natural. Mothers always take care of their children in such a loving, caring way. And they really care. And so when we say Hare, we're calling out to Radharani, she really cares. And Krishna Suhrit, he really cares. He's there within the heart. So sadhana, it's not so hard, really. It just means to take shelter. That Hare Krishna, and that care, that love that comes from the mother, from Mother Hara, it is naturally there. So we should take full shelter. So what's my point? My point is that inspirational sadhana comes from ourselves. It comes from a desire, a pointed desire to surrender. And to whatever degree I decide that, I become inspired. Everything else is boring. And that's why, it's possible to fall asleep while you're doing your sadhana because it's not interesting. Whole material world's not interesting. Mahavishnu's not that interested in the material world. That's why he's sleeping on the, and he's breathing out and in, but no one's paying attention. That's the whole thing. No one pays attention. Everyone's going on. And, just like it's important to go out and meet people and present Krishna consciousness, and you know how Krishna feels when he presents to me and I don't pay attention. Go try presenting to somebody and they pretend like you're not there. It hurts. And so Krishna consciousness is all about the consciousness. That's the important thing. It's the consciousness behind it, not the movement behind it so much, but the consciousness, the intention. What is my intention? So if I can muster that intention to surrender and to pay attention, then there's immediate reciprocation. And it goes on forever like that. There's unlimited reciprocation between the soul and Krishna. So everything's complete in this verse for happiness in life. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna. We have 2 ears, just use them by staying in the proximity of spiritual sound intentionally as much as possible. And punya shravana kirtana, you'll get wealth, spiritual wealth. You'll become powerful spiritually. Hridyantaksto hibhadrani, Krishna will help. He'll sort out all the inauspicious things within the heart. Vidhunoti suritsatam, he knows exactly what he's doing. So let him do it. Why not? Any reflections or questions? We have a few minutes left. Yes. Tattva-vitt Prabhu, Hare Krishna. We were brahmacharis together in San Francisco, 1973. Jayananda Prabhu was our Bhakta leader.
Srila Prabhupada lectured on this person. This is where he said that 75%, you can consider like 75%, and then the process of the rest, you might can't. Cleansing, he was talking about cleansing. You can cleanse up to like 75%. You may not be able to do it all yourself. Krishna will do the rest. You can mention it, 75% figure. Because sometimes the devotees wonder, how much cleansing do I have to do? How much do I have to be cleansed to surrender?
Yeah, and it's not so much what I give, it's what I leave behind or what I hold back. There's an offense in the chanting the holy names of the Lord, which is to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on the matter. It's really an interesting statement, even after understanding. If I understood it, I've understood so many instructions on the matter, but do you want to surrender? No thanks. Even though I understood it. That's not very good. So, and maintaining material attachments means that I have some sense that I'm going to keep them. In other words, I know it's there, the attachment's there, I know kind of where it is also, it's floating around in there, and I maintain it. There's another way, and that is to, even if I know it's there, and I don't leave it behind, I don't intend to leave it behind and let it stay. For instance, I may have some envy, matsara, which is pervasive in the material world. Jiva Goswami says that matsara, envy, means the inability to tolerate the eminence of another or to appreciate the eminence of another. And so if I have some inauspicious thing within my heart, I have a choice actually to allow Krishna to take it out, but I have to allow him. I had a realization once I was driving along in my car, and I became aware of an anartha. It was some thing that floated by my consciousness, and then I thought, I could expunge this from my heart by just exposing it and telling Krishna about it. And then there was some little another voice, a demoniac voice that said, no, if you do that, then you'll lose it. And I was observing these two voices, and I thought, who said that? It was like in cartoons when I was growing up as a kid, they used to have like a devil on one shoulder and a little angel on the other, and one saying, do it, and the other was saying, no, don't do it. And there's actually movement in spiritual life when I notice those two voices. And so just say if that anartha is in a box somewhere and I'm maintaining it, I conceived of it like that. It's in a box. And even if I don't bring the box out, if I just say, Krishna, the box is back there. If you would kindly go and take it out. Vidhunoti suritsatam, he'll do it. But I have to be willing. So to what percentage, what degree? I mean, it's high stakes. If I decide I'll do the whole thing, everything, then I'm in a really good situation that I've decided not 25%, not 50%, not 75%, but why not 100%? And even if I can't do it, if I allow Krishna and ask Krishna, please, I'd like it to be 100%, then he's surit, he'll help me.